So today it's this little bit of a lecture. It is called The Inner Science and Cultivation of Compassion. And this lecture is then from Barry Kerzin, and he is Dalai Lama's a Western doctor physician. And he was just wonderful, beautiful, um, fantastic doctor. His eyes are super bright and he has
Yeah.
this auric field. And yeah, thank you. And let me see. Yeah, okay, everybody there. Okay, muting everybody just for a second. Okay, and this was the first Dharma talk of actually many. Now, everybody who works close with the Dalai Lama, they look interesting because their face are all lit up and the eyes are shining bright. Okay, so when I met the Dalai Lama the second time on this trip, like one-on-one, and I received a blessing, when he pulled up, it was actually outside, we were lined up to get this blessing. When he pulled up, like it was like a shift in vibration. Okay, he is full on enlightened. And you can wonder, what does that even mean? Well, it basically means that his I am presence, his Godhead, is basically fully integrated in his physical body avatar. So he is like he walks around in this field of white, bright light. And when you go up to him or being close to him, even, there's this like peaceful vibration. And it's that vibration that is so, it's like that feeling in your heart of absolute love, right? So this like that thing that we kind of have been looking for all of our lives, he holds that vibration. And it feels just amazing and wonderful to be with him. So to my wonderful surprise, we had several Dharma talks, and the first one was held by His Holiness um, uh, doctor. And I actually looked up today his kind of review and how he explains himself. He's trained family physician, and he has resided and been a monk. He's also a monk in India for several decades. So he's a little bit older. And he is in this Tibetan community in exile. In addition to serving as the the Dalai Lama's personal physician, Dr. Kerzin is the founder of theAltruism in medicine, whose mission is to increase compassion and resilience among healthcare professionals and extended professional groups, such as police officers, first responders, teachers, and leaders. He describes himself as a doctor, a monk, a teacher, and a lazy man. All of these things, yet none of these things. So, what is it credible with the teachings, the Dharma teachings that they're talking about? It's like they're teaching us how to cultivate this inner science of compassion. And part of that is kind of like seeing the life that we're living in a different light. Okay, so there's just 6 points that we're going to go over. But what he is saying about compassion, he says it's no longer like a luxury. How, oh, you can be so compassionate and this about that. But his feels like it's very much necessary for the world. It's necessary to have compassion for ourselves, for all sentient beings, and for the earth herself, because we're part of that. So what they're teaching basically is a lot of quantum physics that's coming in, because we're all totally entangled. And so they have certain tricks, if you feel triggered or angry or upset, how you can work with these methods and lessen the karmic ties. Because when you get upset with somebody, or when you're in the blame game or the victim game or all of that, you're actually creating these ties within yourself. And those ties, you have to resolve at some point. So basically the idea is get rid of all the karmic ties that you have. And as you have brought in enough light, guess what? Now with the ascension light and the solar flares, and then I've heard also from the center of our cosmic sun, or the center of our galaxy, there's now more light spraying in. So we're getting like a super wave or a boost of enlightenment light. And I think that's actually even happening today, because today we're happen to be scheduled on this amazing spring equinox, where day and night are even in time, and the matrix itself is becoming a little unstable. So there's cracks in the jar, so to say. So we can receive with intention, imagination, um, and all of that. So yeah, so they're also we're having a text here, a volcano in Alaska erupt in the next few weeks. So yeah, so eruptions in the earth plane. Gaia Sophia is awakening, and the earth grid and the Schumann resonance is rising and changing. So we're feeling fantastic. Right? Yay. How happy are we, everybody? So happy. Okay, I got to take a picture of that. Everybody, arms up. Hold on. We got to get the picture on this. How happy are we?
So happy, and I'm not even in the picture.
Yes, everybody's in the picture except for Rosemary. You have to come over here. Okay. Anyway, so this compassion is necessary for ourselves. So we begin with Tibetan Buddhism is always through ourselves, but for others. So everything that we see being reflected to us, if somebody is nasty to you or somebody is this or that to you, it's a reflection that inside your subconscious, you're holding some unraveled stuff that you're being shown that, hey, unravel this. How do we do that? With compassion. So we have 6 points today. I'm just going to read them over first, and then we'll go into every one of them. And then they're going to all tie together. So the first one is generosity. Okay. And what is generosity? Well, you can be generous with your energy. Like we are always so generous to each other with our smiles. You're generous by showing up. You're generous with your time. You're generous with your energy. You can hold, how it feels when you're holding a higher vibration. What takes you away from generosity? Well, that's when you're afraid or angry or don't want to, you contract, right? So we want to be open with boundaries, I would say, because if you're always open and your heart is just like flowing out, I know that for a fact. Some people can't handle it and they can like that. So you have to know, in a sense, how much energy you can hold, right? In Tibetan, compassion is called Niji, Nijee. And in Sanskrit, it's called Karuna. And remember, Karuna Reiki, it's again tying in with that. That's the compassionate energy of Kuan Yin. So what I have understood is kind of like shamanism, Tibetan Buddhism, high Tibetan and mystical teachings, esoteric teachings. It's all coming together. If you just reach like a little bit aligned with the top of the mountain, you then are kind of combining all the spiritual practices and some religions. I know the energy just came in hardcore. So the first one is about being generous with yourself. And what they're talking about is that they want to create generosity in a very vast way and then in also a very deep way. So both vast and a deep sense of generosity. Okay. So he told a little funny story here. When you're generous, it's a win-win situation. And I can only say, for example, when I started to work with Aloe, I was always surprised how generous he was towards me. Except also my husband, he was always so generous. And if you're very generous to somebody of your friends, and not to gain, not in a bribey way, but actually generous from your heart. Like, when you guys come over, you're always bringing all these chips and guacamole and this and that. You're so generous, and the cacao. And doesn't that make you feel so wonderful? You just want people to come over again when it's like that, because the more you give, the more you can receive also. So it's like it opens our heart. So the first point he talked about was generosity. Okay, now he told a story about this monk, and he was so enlightened. And he met a tiger in the forest. And he saw this tigress, a female tigress, who had 5 starving cubs. And as he walked in the forest, he was so enlightened that he understood that he had a body, but he was not at all even attached to the body. And he wasn't having any doggy food in his pockets or anything like that. He had nothing, the monk as well. So his body was very sattvic, like he was enlightened in his body already. And so he cut off a huge piece of his buttocks and started to feed the tigress. Okay. And he understood the depth of emptiness and generosity, and that it was very vast and deep. And this is the part of realizing the emptiness, which is the sixth part, the sixth point that I'm teaching to. Now, we're not going to go and cut off our butt cheeks and feed the hungry tigers, but this is not like a true story in per se in words, but you could see, how can I be so generous, right? How can I be generous without attachment? So obviously he wasn't attached to his body at all. Now, the second part is an ethical discipline, okay? Being honest with whatever that it is that you're doing and what you're saying. When we are telling a white lie or not being fully honest, even when we say, oh, you're going to the concert. Oh, okay. Well, when you say something like, okay, I would like to be there, and you don't like the artist, but you go ahead, or something like that. When you do something like that, reverse, actually what you're doing, you're taking energy away from yourself. Your energy is dissipating, and you're giving the light of your life body away, and the other person is also losing energy. Okay, so now what comes to mind, eventually, when you don't say the full truth at all times, or you don't know how to say no, say, hey, I'm so grateful and happy for the invitation, but this concert is not for me, right? Or something like that. Wow, I'm so great. I'm so happy for you that you love the concert. And that's it. Then you cut it free. I know, I always tell you the example of Shay. Remember Shay, my friend? She's so good at doing that. She has worked hard on it, but I can just tell, like, okay, do you want to do this and this? No, that's not going to work for me. How about doing this and this day instead? Okay, that's great. Okay, wonderful. See you then. Thank you. Bye-bye. So for me, it feels so great when you're with somebody who always says what they want, right? Okay, that's not going to work for me. Or I actually, to tell you the truth, I prefer spaghetti as opposed to, baked potatoes or whatever you want to say, just say what it is. And then how will that relationship be with that person? It will be comfortable because they're always saying the truth. They're not whining and swirling and blah, blah, blah. And I have, you remember Alicia? She's very Russian and she says it straight up. And, and it's just like, it's so wonderful. It just cracks me up because she's like, shut the fuck up. I'm doing my sun salutes. I'm dying here. Can you just and I just start cracking up and it's just hysterical. But it makes me feel happy and safe, right? So think about trust. Trust will be built when we have this ethical discipline, okay? So think of some examples and you in your note where you have been really honest and just see how clean and nice and easy it is. And then also think of some examples when you were intimidated, couldn't say the truth, or when you were younger or whatever, when you weren't able to fully say the truth. Okay. The third point of how to create the science of compassion is patience and tolerance, right? This is the opposite. Patience and tolerance is the opposite of anger. You can't be angry and loving at the same time, right? Reduce anger because it is unhealthy to push anger down because of obviously either it'll flip the lid and explode or it'll create a form of dis-ease somewhere. Because if you push it down, push it down, push it down, your soul self, as you know, with the quantum healing hypnosis, it's going to do something to your soul. So if you're not following the requests of your soul or the highest timeline, you'll get you'll get some friction, and we know how that feels. So how do we then find out or find this patience within ourselves? Well, it takes that contemplation and going into your heart and look inside of yourself. How can you transform any anger into patience and compassion and tolerance for yourself? When you have resolved certain things within yourself, then you can recognize, oh, I get it where they are. So simple example, when I started first with yoga, I used to be so mad when people drive in front of you like that, right? Then after a while of kind of working out the fascia and the breathing and opening my body and being comfortable in my body, then all of a sudden I had less anger, less unresolved emotions. And when somebody's like driving in front of you like that, yeah, you jump, but you don't get angry after. You're like, okay, that person either was in that space where I used to be, and I ain't going back there, or they are having an emergency, or whatever it is, it's not worth it to get mad, right? It just isn't. So, the physical and behavior and speech. So they talk about body, mind, and speech. Those are the three factors that the Tibetan Buddhists really take into consideration. So the first three that we just went over, ethical discipline, patience, and generosity, is something that you kind of do outward. And they call that is with the external environment, it's from the body self, okay? The speech is internal thinking, is also part of the speech. And the mind, they call it mind, but when they say mind, they touch their hearts. So what type of a mind are they talking about? That's right, the heart mind, okay? The higher mind, right? So they see themselves as a field. And they also talk a lot about like, this is an illusion that we're living. What do they mean? They mean that our 5 or 6 senses is giving us a reflection of what we have learned in our subconscious or in our up bringing. So the way we see the world is how the world is being shown to us. And we know that when we go through a Reiki attunement and initiation, we're lifting our vibration up, where our senses are waking and broadening, vast and deep, so that we then see a higher vibration, and that is being reflected to us. Okay. And these are the first 3 external parts. Now we're going to go into the internal last 3, and that has to do with the mind and the emotion. Okay. So the heart mind. So the number 4 is called Sundru, Sundru, and that is perseverance, not to give up. Never give up, Kimberly Ann. Not to give up. Okay, so it's sometimes it's very difficult to do things, right? And sometimes it's too difficult to do something. But the 4th perfection is talking about don't develop a habit of giving up. Okay? Because your good work will then not prosper. That's what they're saying. So if you develop a habit to consistently, slowly create this equanimity and create this balance, never give up is what the Dalai Lama says. And remember how I of course we all know how much work he has done when he came to exile into Dharamshala. He's in exile. Remember, he was taken out of Tibet and placed there in Dharamshala in India, where he immediately set up all the different temples, the different ways how to copy the scriptures, how to have a daily kora where they walk around the temple grounds. They believe a lot in their meditation. It's all about taking action, right? So he has done a lot, and he always says, I am in exile from my Tibet, right? So he's in India. He's not in Tibet, and they can't quite go back to Tibet. Another joke that they were talking about in Dharamshala, because it's up in the Himalayas, is they say that the weather, is very unpredictable. One time it's, rain, and then it's wind, and then it's clouds, and then it's warm. He says like the weather in Dharamshala is like the Chinese. That's their kind of saying. Not the Dalai Lama says that, but our guide is unpredictable, right? So if you have a steadiness within yourself, just like your heart is continuously beating, creating an energy field, when you stick to something, you create a wonderful sense of that yogis talk about in the Sanskrit name called santosha, which means a deep contentment. It's a rhythm, it's doing something, and then your work will be recognized at the end of the day, right? So take also pride in what it is that you're doing, right? You're showing, you guys are showing up here over and over and over again. That's don't give up, because we feel better, but you're still showing up. So you're still here and you're still doing it. And you can always reframe yourself and say, okay, I don't really want to do this, but I can reframe myself and change your attitude to showing up. So that's number 4, the Sundru, about persistency. And the Dalai Lama's catch line is basically never give up. And when he gave his talk 2 days before we met him, first thing he says, I am in exile. Now it has so served the Tibetan, they call it science. It's not a religion. They call it more of a science of creating compassion and understanding, which has worked. He said it has actually benefited the Tibetan practices by being in exile, because more and more people have reached it. I mean, he's world famous, and, for a good reason. He's spreading hope. He has a very good structured way of practicing, which I'm going to teach you as much as I can. So anyway, when we don't develop the habit of giving up, because your good work will not prosper. When you stick to it, it's like you're putting that intention every day, and you will become prosperous. Even if it's not seeing it right off the bat. Adriana, she's doing her coding. We're doing our things. So we're working in it towards something, right? So we're not giving up. We find that joy internally. Number 5, concentration. Okay, in Tibetan it's called Tinnesen, Tinezen, concentration. And in Sanskrit, it's called shamutu, or what I like to say, dharana, concentration, dharana. Don't get distracted. When we are distracted, we can't practice our dharma. What is dharma? Dharma is the Tibetan practices. Okay, focus on good things and concentrate your mind, and learn how to concentrate your mind. So the monks, by doing their malas, they say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, which also opens their compassionate heart, is to command their mind, because they know that if you can just rope your mind in, then your emotional, your physical, your energetic, your spiritual, everything will fall into place. So learn to concentrate. When you know that you're all over the place, take a breath. Come back into your body, come back into your heart. Because when we're in our bodies and in our heart, not in the thinking mind is going to take you on a story all the time. And we have a thinking mind, but it's not leading you. You decide to come back into your heart and concentrate on your Dharma practice. So when the Buddhists pray, okay, I'll show you here. They put your hands together and then they bend their thumbs in like that. Okay, and then they put their head on the forehead. This is for the Buddha practice, which means peacefulness. And they say, Om Mani Padme Hum. That's for the Buddha practice because he was enlightened. Then they put it over the throat. And here's the Dharma practice. The Dharma is what you say. It's your practice to get rid of distractions and get rid of your mind, get rid of anger, fear, guilt, jealousy, and all that. You say Om Mani Padme Hum. That is for the Dharma. And then you place your hand over your heart and you say Om Mani Padme Hum. And that is for the Sangha. Sangha, that is the group, the people, and it's actually translated to the kingdom. So you say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And this is part of the Dharma practice. Okay, so they do that 3 times. Say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. So thinking clearly, speaking clearly, feeling clearly. You're lining these 3 aspects up. That is part of the concentration of roping yourself back in. All right. Then the 6th practice is the wisdom of emptiness. Okay. You know how long I've been talking about the no thingness. And it's a very, very complex practice. We're just kind of skimming the basics here. And what they think about the emptiness is that all of our sense organs, you know, we have smell, we have eyesight, we have ears, hearing, we have the sense of feeling and touch. Okay, and then we have the other sense. What is the other senses? Taste. Taste, yeah. So we have all these sense organs, right? He described it that something is absent. Okay, so when we use this, who is it that is smelling? Who is it that is seeing? Who is it that is hearing? Who is it that is tasting? And who is it that is sensing, right? Remember, our new sense organ is imagination, inspiration, and intention. Those are the new sense organs, right? So we are encouraged to see that. He didn't mention those, obviously. That's my download, but it is, I think it's very correct according to what I feel deeply in my heart, because I know deeply in my heart that this is the way into the new wisdom practices. So they are here talking about that it's actually not 100% correct, because when I see something through my eyes, I'm seeing with my consciousness behind the eyes. Maybe I have bad eyesight, or I don't like to see something, so I'm not going to see it the same way as somebody else sees it. Or I love to see it, so I'm going to look deeper and see the beauty inside everything, right? So we're all using a sense organs in a different way. So they're saying that the sense organs is creating this illusion, the matrix of understanding that brings us back into karmic rebirth all the time. So remember, Joshua, he says, I am in this world, but not of this world. Right? Remember, sometimes we have seen the practice that you're thinking about watching yourself from behind and up above your head, and I'm seeing myself and becoming aware of myself, being aware. Right? So we're tapping into this deeper aspect, and now we are in the quantum field. Because when you back away from the intensity of being fully in the sense organs and in the matrix, we are in imagination, we're in the inspiration, and we're in the intention. So we can kind of cut a hole through our everyday experience and open up for more inspiration, more imagination, and more intention. We're breaking free from the mundane, going here, going there, having my coffee, having my croissant, having this, going here, being so satisfied. Okay, because we're looking outside then to create this stimulation of feeling happiness in our own self from the outside in. Now, what we're doing with the wisdom practice of emptiness is that we're going within and seeing the world more from within and then expanding out. So, what Dr. Barry said, he said, there are three domains to emptiness. It's the agent. You can write this down. It's the object and it's the act. Okay, so the giver gives a gift and the act of giving. Okay, so the agent is the giver. Okay, I'm giving you a gift. Okay, and then I have the object, the thing that I got for you. I'm giving that object to you. And then it's also an act of me giving it to you. So there are three aspects of this. And if you look at it, yes, I, as a conscious field, is giving you a gift. It's also molecules, right? And then the act of me giving it to you, it's actually like I'm giving it to myself because I love to give it to you. So I'm generous. I feel so generous when I give that. And then I open my heart. And then you say, oh, I'm so happy you receive it. So then you are so generous because you are receiving it with your open heart, right? And then I'm telling you, I'm so excited to give this to you. And then you're so excited with ethical discipline number 2. Oh, I love this. And you're like, oh no, I don't want this, but I still love you. Okay, so you tell the truth, right? And then number 3, we have patience and tolerance, right? Because we're not angry that you gave one thing and you didn't give one thing, blah 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 blah. So we're like pulling away. Wait a minute, it doesn't matter, right? So it's very flowy, right? But never give up, right? Keep going with your thing. Keep reaching for that feeling inside of your heart that I told you when you met the Dalai Lama or any of these teachers, even Dr. Barry, when he gave me a little blessing, right? Oh, my heart cracked open and tears were coming out of my eyes. And I'm thinking, wow, what is this? Well, he has that same light that cuts through and fulfill your heart. It's that longing that we've always had. What are we missing? What is the emptiness inside of our heart? Can we expand that emptiness so vastly so we then can feel completely full in the emptiness without being attached to things or our sense organs and just open up for this field of holding space, right? And concentrate on remembering this feeling. So all of these 6 perfections, they're called the 6 perfections that I talked to you about now. It's about creating this inner science of cultivation of compassion. So when we use the way of thinking, this aspects and bringing them all together, we are then being able to understand and practicing this 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 way of opening up. It's kind of like the Lady of Guadalupe says, don't take life so seriously. It's it's a way of being. And when we can move with the energy and understand that we have the sense organs and realize that when you feel loving, when you're kind and compassionate to yourself, you're in a different timeline and things become easier and you're in the flow. Remember yoga, flow yoga, you're in the flow. All right. So these are the six domains of this way of practicing. So you can also say, it isn't real. This is not real. Not to be arrogant and, believe that it's not real. This is not real. Somebody drove over my toe and it really hurts, but it's not real. Okay, that's being not realistic. But playing with this, and we can go a little bit more into this, but it's basically dissolving the emotion into the void also. So if you have a very strong emotion, we want to enhance our compassion and our bodhicitta. You can say, well, this isn't real, right? So if we get really triggered or angry, so the anger, for example, there are some emotions that are very difficult to deal with. When we get angry, or somebody treats us well, talks behind our back, or comes into our house and uses our bathroom or whatever, and stuff like that. And we get triggered, that anger, how can we create patience out of that, right? How can you move pride into humility? How can you move jealousy into appreciation? How can you move arrogance into humility? How can you move insecurity into healthy self-confidence? We have to catch these strong emotions beforehand, because when you are angry, you can't be compassionate. Your heart is beating. You can't even enjoy your dinner. You wake up in the middle of the night and your mind is going and you just can't sleep, right? So why do we have a daily practice? We have a daily practice so that we can dissolve these internal uprising and the cycle within ourselves before we flip the lid, right? And then if we flip the lid, what do? We sit with the emotion. We avoid, to the best of our ability, to blame others, and we take full responsibility for our frustration, anger, jealousy, pride, arrogance, and insecurity. So he gave us an exercise that worked for him, but it doesn't work right off the bat. You have to do it. You just see the anger. Imagine that early anger is a cloud in the sky, and the cloud moves and completely dissolves your anger. So you put the anger in a cloud and you let it go away. So this is the part of the science of controlling your mind, this thinking mind, and allow for this compassion science to enter into your body. This is just one way of doing it. And this way, it is called the 6 perfections, which leads to the inner science and cultivation of compassion. All right, so I'm going to pause the recording and we can take some questions and just see how this could be helpful maybe for you. I'm pausing there. Okay, so we had a wonderful discussion and we shared examples. So we have been very engaged in talking now. So now we're going to have a final just realignment practice. So close your eyes and sit up straight or lay down. But just imagine all the thoughts, all the thinking, all the energy and discussion. Right from here, you can see the shoulders, right here, back of the neck, and up. Feel all the thoughts, all the energy, all of your thoughts, the collective unconscious thinking. Okay, could you feel all the thoughts and the energy that's swirling around your head and shoulders? Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, blow it out. Feeling the talky. Okay, inhale. And on this exhale, you're just going to let that energy lift off your shoulders, off your face, off your throat and the neck and the crown of the head. And just push it up. Let it lift up into the light. Do it one more time. Imagine all the thinking thoughts and all the energy. Inhale. And when we blow out, it blows it gently up like a cloud rising up. And as it rises up into your light, then it just transmutes. And just take a little check-in. Just took about 1 minute, if not less. And notice how you can shift into this beautiful, compassionate state now. So we can do this very simple practice a few times a day. Maybe you can do it in the morning when you wake up or in the evening before you go to sleep. Now, I would like also to activate your chakras and align them. So now think of your root chakra. And it's red. It's like right underneath your tailbone. And it's a vortex because we are a field. Think down there, feel the energy and your attention guided to the root chakra. And then in your internal or external voice, just say activate. And you could feel the root chakra activate itself because the body has this incredible intelligence and it knows. We go into the creative chakra, orange, right below the navel in the pelvis area. Visualize, feel swirling energy there. And then we say, activate. Say it out loud. Say to your own second chakra, activate. And feel how your nerves and your consciousness there is activating. Now you have connected the root and the second chakra. And just feel how that energy is open and so clear. Now we're going to the solar plexus in your belly center. That's your own sacred sun, your own star center. That's yellow. Feel energy there. And we say, activate your solar plexus. And you can feel it activate going into the kidneys, adrenals, and connect with the second chakra, the orange, into the root. And now we're going to the heart chakra. They're all connecting. The heart is in the center of your chest. And we're also doing the upper heart right here in the thymus gland and behind you. Big heart chakra spinning and spinning in green. And then you command and demand it to activate. Activate now. And feel how intelligent your body is. How it's activating and connecting to the lower chakras of the solar plexus, second chakra, and root. Creating a pillar of energy. Now go into your throat chakra. Feel the throat, front, back, and side. Connecting to your heart, and we say, activate. Feel the energy in your throat activating now. Okay, now go up over the jaw and the mouth and the ears into your third eye chakra and higher third eye and the back of the head. That's the third eye chakra. And now command it. Activate my third eye chakra. This has to do with the pineal gland and the cave of Brahma. And as we say activate, it's connecting down to the throat and the heart and the solar plexus, second and root. And now crown of the head, top of your head. There we have the 1,000-petal lotus. Here we have pituitary glands. It's a 1,000-petal lotus. And you command it to activate. Good, and it's connecting to all the other chakras. And now just above your head here, we're connecting to the 8th chakra. It's also called the rainbow bridge. You can imagine the energy there, and you command it to activate. And now feel how your energy body is, you're more in your body, and your toric field is expanding from your heart up and out through your head and making a huge circle around your body. Now you're fully activated. You're going to sleep like a baby. You do it at night and you do it in the morning. And if you had more thoughts, again, take the thought, inhale, white energy from the shoulders and up. And as you exhale, just blow it up. Good. And now your energy field is clear and crisp and activated. Okay? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. See you next time.